During my youth service, there was a program that was held at the stadium, the state stadium. The program was being hosted by the then governor of the state, which was Rochas Okorocha. So all youth corpers were to assemble at the stadium that very day. So I was sitting in the front row. There was a guy behind me. I don't know what I was doing, but I think he asked, I don't know what he asked me to give to him. And from there we started talking. We got to know each other. And we exchanged our phone numbers. We got talking, But I don't think we got to see afterwards during, that period in time. So when we finished our youth service, we kept in touch again, but this time it was through Facebook. So we, followed each other on Facebook. I don't think then they had this thing of following each other on Facebook. I think he sent me a friend request, or I sent him a friend request. I can't remember. So we became friends online. At this time, I had gotten married. I'd given birth to my first child. So a few months in, I was scrolling through Facebook when I saw that someone posted "Rest in Peace" on his timeline. I screamed. I went to his timeline. I started looking at his posts. I realized as at the time we met, he was a Muslim. And then at this time, his name was Ibrahim at that time. Now he changed his name to Abraham on Facebook. So he was now living in Abuja. I served in Port Harcourt. No, I'm sorry, Imo State. Imo State, that's where I served. So that's where we met. And then I cried so much because we had just known. He was a very young boy, young man. Let me call him young. He was a very young man. So I cried. I began to question the essence of life. Like, I hate it when young people die. Everybody does. We ought to die when we are old, not when we are young, because we have our whole life ahead of us. So I cried so much. But one of my consolation was the fact that he had given his life to Christ, because he now began preaching on Facebook. I went through his posts. So at that point in time when I was crying so bitterly, a radio was playing on the background, and the preacher just said, "You want to know the essence of life?" I was shocked because it was like the preacher was responding to the question I asked. And so the preacher made a reference to the story of Jesus teaching his disciples about the parable of the rich fool. And the key message for me from that story was the essence of life is to be rich unto God. And what does that mean? It means living a life of purpose, living a life of impact, living a life that is, rich unto God, like the passage says, a life that is rich in good works. Leaving your footprints wherever you serve, wherever you are, leaving indelible marks in the hearts and lives of people, doing whatever you can to be a problem solver, to affect the lives of people positively. So after that experience and after hearing that message, I became focused on living a life of purpose, because that experience taught me that life isn't measured by the number of years you spend on earth, but actually by the profound impacts you make in the lives of people, or in the path where God has called you, the difference you make, the effort you make in ensuring that wherever you are or whatever you do, it doesn't remain the same, that people get to experience liberty, people get to experience, a part of God in that environment, a part of God, what God has put in you, if not all, So the essence of life is living for purpose, living for impact, affecting the lives of people positively. That's the whole essence of life, and I have never looked back. My life is greatly marked by living for purpose. I am very conscious of that, and that's what I want to bring to you at this moment. To become conscious of living a life of purpose, because purpose is everything. It is the essence of life. To everything there is a purpose, and so your life carries a purpose, your destiny carries a purpose. So make full use of your life, make full use of your purpose. Whatever it is that God has called you to do in life, make full use of the opportunities that are brought your way.